Hello everybody, it is time for part 5 of my Q&A series, and just a reminder, if you'd like to ask a question, there's still plenty of time to do so. Just go to the video in the description and leave a comment. I will not be using comments from this video for questions. Today we're going to start with Blaze, who asked, has malware ever leaked from your VM onto your PC? No. And Dahan asked, do you shoot hoops on a regular basis? Yes, but only in 5-minute intervals. Ace Sexington asks, what would be the best antivirus for the average computer user? It's really too hard to say. You have to kind of determine what the computer literacy of the average computer user is. However, I will tell you for sure that I think the easiest antivirus to use is Bitdefender Free Edition. However, there are some drawbacks to this, mainly that there are no settings that you can change at all. So you can't change the updating settings, you can't add exclusions. However, it's dead simple to use and you probably will never notice it. Mike DeSanta asked, would you ever think about doing a video for mobile phone malware, especially an iPhone? As far as I know, there really isn't any iPhone malware to speak of, and if there even is, it's really not worth making a video about. Nick Gagner asked, what is your opinion on Microsoft ending support for Windows XP and using it to advertise Windows 8? Why was there a big gap in the timeline of XP and Vista? I think it's about time Microsoft ended support for Windows XP. It's 12 years old and horribly outdated. I don't think they're actually advertising Windows 8 by it. I think they're advertising whatever the newest version of Windows is, because Windows XP is outdated. And the big time gap is because Microsoft actually restarted the whole Vista Longhorn project about halfway through. Jared Parrish asked, have you reviewed Avast Antivirus? I now have reviewed Avast Antivirus. Bugama HD asked, why do you and DanoOct1 fight so much? You're like beast YouTubers and mates. Also, you're amazing, loving that virus stuff. Well, thank you, Bugama HD, I appreciate that. And I thought it was pretty obvious all the back and forth between DanoOct1 and myself was all tongue-in-cheek. Def Before Dishonor 211 asked, how did you get into the drug game? Well, I'm not giving away my secrets to you. Dude asks, what kind of setup do you use? By that, I mean your video card and rig. Okay, so my video card is a Sapphire VaporX Radeon HD 7770. The rig has an i5, Core i5 2500K, overclocked to, I think, 4.3 or 4.2 gigahertz, 16 gigabytes of memory, a 128 gigabyte Crucial M4 solid-state drive, and a 500 gigabyte Western Digital Caviar Black hard drive. Supermind1337 asked, will you do a lots of adware in one video like Optimizer Pro and other adware? That would be cool. I'll keep that idea in mind, thank you. Spam Hater 160 asked, do you remember Desktop Defender 2010 or its clones? Do they still make new ones, and do you plan on testing them? I guess I do remember those, and no, there aren't any new clones of this. FlipDav44 asked, what do you seriously think of DanoOct1? And like I said to the other guy, everything I say on YouTube is tongue-in-cheek in regards to Dan. Coco617 asked, have you heard of the Android iBanking malware and can you do a video on it? I really can't do a video on that. iBanking sounds like some type of banking or SMS Trojan, which really isn't feasible for me to test on the phones that I have. The Father of Puns asked, do you know how to code? No, I don't know anything about programming. Windows Version Geek 8 asked, would it be possible for a virus like CIH to work and destroy the newest UEFI? And from what I understand, UEFI has some type of error checking and built-in recovery, so it's probably not likely. NSM0220 asked, what was the last time you used Hitman Pro on malware other than that you made on Kickstart review you made? Well, I've never really used Hitman Pro on malware other than the Kickstart video. That was actually the first time I've ever used it. I've just heard of it. Malware Info asks, how many times a week do you listen to Viper's albums? It really just depends on the mood I am. Maybe once every other week. Misha Dekawa, or something like that, asks, do I have to install an antivirus on an Ubuntu machine? If so, what's the best one? There's no need to install antivirus on Ubuntu or any other Linux. Forever Banishment asks, will you ever do a giveaway? No, probably not. KPJ Video asks, is there any site I can go to see a list of rogues and possibly a list of all other known aliases of them, such as in the last Q&A where you talked about that new form of Windows anti-breach suite? Yes, there is. It's called siri-ers.blogspot.com. There's a link in the description for that. It's exactly what you're looking for. This guy has documented pretty much every fake antivirus from about 2007 or 2008 on. So it's a really great resource, and I'm kind of upset that Apple stole his name for the search function thing on iPhones. Hi man, I'm Bob asks, what is your opinion on uTorrent and other illegal downloaders? YouTube is, or not YouTube, uTorrent is pretty shitty nowadays. A lot of advertisements, it's just awful. I actually prefer Deluge for my very illegal downloads. Ghost Recon 141 asked, when are you going to get signed by Rhyme Time Records? I don't think I'm going to be signed by Rhyme Time Records, but hopefully some other people do. The Icy Princess asked, is Christopher Robin still the devil? Absolutely, yes he is, and let me tell you why. If you remember in Winnie the Pooh Home Run Derby, you try to get a certain amount of home runs versus the various pitchers. Generally, you want to get, I think the goal is about 60% on some of the later ones. However, against Christopher Robin, he throws completely random pitches. He throws 50 pitches, and you have to hit home runs on 40 of them. 80% success rate is simply not possible by a human being, and you can farm points on Rabbit all you want, however, it's not going to help you once you get to Christopher Robin. Kinkos Dragon asks, am I mentally insane for vividly believing that I am a dragon in the real world? Have you ever played old MS-DOS or Win16 games on a virtual machine before? And would you rather use Windows Server as a web server or a lightweight and or enterprise Linux distro on a web server? Yeah, it's probably possible that you are mentally insane. And no, I haven't played DOS or Win16 games in a VM, mainly because they just simply run way too fast. And for a web server, I prefer using Linux as opposed to Windows, simply because of the better software compatibility and permissions and nice things like that. Fos asked, what is your favorite video game console? That's really tough to say. I guess my favorite console that I ever owned was the PlayStation 2. And when I had it, it was the fat one, which means you could break the CD tray cover off and use a cut-up credit card to play pirated PS1 games that you just burn onto regular CDRs. So that was great. The favorite console that I never owned was probably the Dreamcast. I remember playing it once. It was the coolest fucking console ever. Had that gigantic controller, which I thought was excellent. It's a really cool controller. Just a really interesting system all around. Artist Boy 360 asked, Helix or Dome? This is probably why I should answer these questions faster. Luis Flores asked, hard tacos or soft tacos? Easy, soft. Mob Spawner 1 asked, what is your opinion on Dogecoin and other cryptocurrencies? I think Dogecoin's actually pretty interesting. It's the only cryptocurrency that I've ever actually used or shown any interest in. And I know a lot of people will hate Doge and Dogecoins. So, if you hate Dogecoins and you want to get rid of yours, kindly send them to the following address. And this address will be in the description because that is way too hard to type. Max Squarin asked, what was the most legit looking virus you've ever seen? Yeah, probably those viruses that tell you that the FBI is going to come to your door any minute now. They look completely legitimate to me. And to wrap up Q&A Part 5, Kalle Karpinen asks, Sup? sup. And that will wrap up part 5 for my Q&A series. Just a reminder, if you'd like to ask a question, please feel free to leave a comment in the video in the description. I will not be using questions from the comments in this video for future Q&A videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and take care.